Guys, what's up? My name's Swords, and today I'm going to teach you how to play the Thing in Marvel Rivals. Huge thanks to the devs for giving me access early. This video isn't simply going to read off his abilities in the practice range. Instead, I'm going to talk about what you need to know from his kit that will actually help you, and my goal is to show you how to realistically play him in ranked. Now first, I need to go through a very brief summary of his abilities, just so y'all can understand me and what I'll be talking about in this video. It's not going to be a long summary, it's going to be quick. So the first thing you need to know is his passive grants you immunity from a lot of crowd control effects, like getting pulled by Spider-Man, pushed by Invisible Woman, or getting launched into the air. But you can still be stunned, and since it's a passive, you don't have to worry about it. It's just something that's always in effect. That's a pretty cool thing to know. His primary attack is just punching. There's nothing really too special here. It's pretty much just like Hulk's punch. But his alternate fire is where the money's at. It's a big punch with good burst damage, at least up to 10 meters of range. This is going to help you burst down targets for your DPS to finish the job and to start an engagement, and it's incredible against tanks. His charge is a movement ability, which is going to be your engage and escape ability, but it's on a 10-second cooldown. You knock anyone you run into around, and then when you end the ability, you stop the ground, launching them into the air, and preventing your target from using movement abilities. So that's pretty cool when you want to target a specific enemy. Then one of his most important abilities, which I want y'all to get really good with, is his embattled leap, which applies damage reduction to yourself and allies, plus it grants really good mobility, which will save you from bad situations or grant opportunities to help out your teammates. For your team up with Invisible Woman, this gives you a new ability that generates bonus health, and for the Thing, it's an amazing ability to have. You're going to stay in the fight much longer than you really should. Now for his ultimate ability, he essentially slams the ground, creating like a shockwave that travels in front of him to launch enemies in the air and stun them for a brief period. Now that we understand his abilities, we can talk about his playstyle. You are a brawler. That means your entire playstyle revolves around you actively being in the fight to make space for the team. You're trying to overwhelm the enemy and force them in a position where they have to try and deal with you, which means you need to play him in a team that wants to take the fight up close. The main abilities you want to be using are his alternate fire, which is the attack that does decent damage because it has no cooldown and can be used repeatedly. His leap, which grants damage resistance to himself and ally, and then the team up ability with Invisible Woman that grants him additional health. Knowing how to use these three abilities is going to help you create a lot of space and add a lot of value to your team and help you dominate these games. But first, we need to talk about his charge. What's going to separate the best and worst things apart is knowing when to charge. And a big part of that is knowing your limits. His charge is your engage and escape ability, but it has a 10-second cooldown. So all it takes is charging at the wrong time or being too far away from your healers to go back to the spawn room. So if you're trying to engage and attack the enemy, you need to make sure you have line of sight with your healers and that they're within range of you to help you out. You also got to make sure they're not being attacked before you charge in, Check these things. Make sure your team's good before you actually charge in and are with the enemy. When you start charging, you can also end this ability early by pressing your charge button again so you can stop and launch enemies into the air who will also be unable to use movement abilities. Most of the time, you don't want to charge and attack their tank. Try to charge past them. Attack a target with not as much health, like a duelist or strategist, or attack targets that are out of position or exposed or vulnerable. These are going to make excellent targets for who you should charge and stomp on. Now that you're in their face, you want to quickly use the team up with Invisible Woman to reduce damage taken from his alternate fire. And then you want to hit him with a haymaker, throw in some punches, and then follow up with another haymaker. That's going to be your combo. Haymaker, punch, punch, haymaker. When your team's in a brawl and actively fighting the enemy, don't completely lock in on doing damage. This is also a good opportunity for you to use your leap ability. Really see who your teammates are fighting and use that leap ability to grant them damage resistance and to grant yourself damage resistance. It's going to help your team and yourself a lot in these fights, and it'll even help you win them. Do not forget about your flyers. They are probably above you, so you want to look above you and behind you because you need to keep an eye on your supports to help them out. As important it is to know when to charge in, it's also important to know when to charge out. Because obviously you're not going to win every fight, but your goal should be to reduce the amount of damage that you're taking as much as you can and to manage how you use your charge ability. So remember when I said that what's going to separate good and bad things is how they use their charge? Well, that's because a good thing will never waste its charge. Just as much as it can help you begin the fight, it's also what's going to get you out of a losing fight. That being the case, this is an ability you want to throw out and use on a cooldown. Don't do that. If you know the map enough and hug walls and corners, you're going to find health packs. Knowing where the health packs are is going to be really, really critical in charging out of a fight. It's going to help you live a lot longer. So don't be afraid to back out and use your charge in the direction of your team or a nearby health pack when you absolutely need to. Save this ability for those critical moments in case you need it. You need to get used to saving your charge for the right moment so you can either engage the right enemy or get out of a fight to regroup with your team. 10 seconds is a lot of time in this game. It's okay to use it on specific vulnerable targets mid-fight. That's cool, but this isn't really an ability we want to waste and throw out on cooldown. Now, let's talk about vanguards. Don't tunnel vision and get too focused on them. With the damage you do, the enemy healers are gonna out-heal you most of the time. So unless an enemy vanguard is low HP or split from their team and not really getting healed, they're not the ideal target to dive on. They're not who you want to focus on. It's okay to charge past them and make space that way to attack someone else behind them. Other times, if they're pushing you, I found a really good way to deal with them when you need to is all you gotta do is spam your haymaker. That's it. Literally, if you're ever in a brawl with an enemy tank, for whatever the scenario, just spamming that haymaker is going to help you out so much. It has good range, it can hit multiple opponents, and it's on an infinite cooldown. I was surprised that I could make the enemy tank show respect and understand that they can't just be in your face for free all the time. You can do some serious damage with this, but that only really applies to tanks. You don't really want to spam haymaker on squishies or duelist strategists. You don't really want to do that. You want, with them, the squishier people, you want a haymaker, punch, punch, haymaker. With tanks, you just want a haymaker, haymaker, haymaker. As for the ultimate ability, you really want to look at this as like a very large stun. It doesn't really do too much damage, but it's enough for your team to follow up on and get some picks from, or combo with another ultimate. The biggest thing you should understand is that his ultimate creates a shockwave that travels over time. It's almost like a projectile. So you need to predict the enemy's movement patterns because that's going to help you a lot in deciding when the best time to use his ability is and which direction you want to use it in. Wait for the enemy to group up so you can hit as many people as you can. And if you're close enough, there's enough time for you to use his ultimate, charge and stomp on a specific target, and then haymaker them with maybe a punch to take them out the fight. Now that's essentially his playstyle. But there are some other things you should understand too. First, he's extremely vulnerable against ranged heroes like Black Widow, Hawkeye, or most flying characters. There's really not much you can do against enemies that are far away from you. Your entire playstyle as the thing is about getting in close, and you don't really have the kit required in quickly moving around the map to deal with those threats. So up against a really good sniper or flyers, you should consider swapping if it's not working and they're doing a lot of damage to you. Trying to deal with threats far away from your team as the thing is only going to feed the enemy's ultimate while they dance around you. You need to make sure your teammates are dealing with them, and if they're not, then you need to maybe consider switching. As the thing, you got to play around what you can reach and escape from if necessary. The other thing you need to understand is without a second Vanguard, playing him without Invisible Woman is going to be tough. Because that team up grants him overhealth and it's insanely good because it makes him very tanky. Without that ability, you don't have a shield or other resistances to really keep you in the fight as long. So keep that in mind. He's not always going to be the best option for solo tanking, but that doesn't make it impossible. In brawly teams paired with like a Magic or even Mr. Fantastic, I could see him being really good, playing really well in the types of teams that are constantly in a fight and want to be close to the enemy. I hope y'all find this video helpful, and if you'd like another YouTuber to watch from Marvel Rivals, hit that subscribe button and support the content. Take it easy, y'all, and peace out.